The characteristics of the white man is evil. He was made like that through nature, now we say. Naturally, he was made like that. We would say, then the devil. We can say a devil cat out there, a devil element, a devil we could call most any grafted thing a devil, you see. But actually, when we say Satan, we mean a man or a people that their wickedness is not, say, confined to themselves. It spreads, and the others is affected by their wickedness. And the white man, we say, is the devil. Why? Because of his weak, physically coming into being from original man, aboriginal people of the earth. When I met him, I looked at him, and he, it just came to me like this, that this is the Son of Man that the Bible said, that prophesied that will come in the last days of the world, and that I couldn't get that out of me. And I shook hands with him, and I said to him, I say, you are the one that the Bible prophesies that will come at the end of the world under the name Son of Man and under the name the second coming of Jesus. And so he looked at me a little stern, and then he smiled, and he put his head down to my beside my head and whispered in my ear and said these words. He said, yes, I am the one, but who knows that? But yourself. And be quiet. His mother, he says, was a white woman, and his father was a black man. Yes, sir. He taught us that he was born in Mecca, Arabia, and that he had come in and out of this country for about 20 years before ever that he made himself known to us. He had studied, he says, out here, or rather he had enrolled in the California University there, and he lived with a white family out there, he says, while he was going to the University of California. How long he went to this university, I don't know. But he says to me that he did go to this university and enroll there. And other universities he mentioned to me. And finally he told me this, that he had studied every educational systems of the civilized world. And that he could speak and, well, speak 16 languages and write 10 of them. He could speak 16 fluently. Well, I was not too much learned into scripture at that time, and I had not studied too much, but I had from a child up wanted to learn the scripture, because my father was a preacher, and I always, from a child up, wanted to help him or take his place one day as a preacher. And so I was always studying the Bible. And I had read much about the coming of the judgment and the coming of God and Jesus returning to resurrected dead and all like that. I had studied much of that. And so all of his talk and teachings correspond with what I had learned of the Scripture. And therefore I become one of his, I should say 100% convert. And on his leave of us, he began to tell me what I may expect, what will come to pass, and what I should do to try and make my people qualified, rather to reform them and make them acceptable by the Islamic people, and teach them that they must change completely in the way of righteousness, and that they would have to forego the name that they was in, and that he would give them all a name himself. And much he said to me. He used to teach me night and day. We used to sit sometime from early part of the night until sunrise and after sunrise, all night long for about 2 years or more. He was with us 3 years, a little better, and I was constantly around him, and he was constantly teaching me of things of Islam and what is to come and what was before. And this is the way that we began. And he patted his hand on my shoulder, give me kind of a little show, a way around it. And there was some more there present. And he started talking to some of them. And about a month later, he told my wife to tell me to go ahead and start teaching out there in the little part of, I would say, it's not a little part now, it's a very large part, in Hamtramck, Michigan. That's in Detroit. Hamtramck is in Detroit. And I was living in Hamtramck at that time. So he says to my wife, you tell him that he can go ahead, because I had wrote him. And he received my letter. And I was telling him what I could not tell him there in the public. And then he says to me, you go ahead and start teaching, and I will back you up. And I started teaching that he was the answer to the prophecy of the coming of Jesus 2,000 years after Jesus' birth, and that this is the man at that time. And so I did begin teaching that but the Son of Man, the second coming of Jesus is present. This is him now, here among us. But he didn't allow me to go too far with that kind of teachings while he was present. He told me, he said, you can do that after I'm gone. He said, don't talk too much about me. He says, no, he says, give them a little milk. That's the way he talked all the time. And he never would say anything hardly just direct. He would give it to you in a way that you would have to learn just exactly what he meant by what he said. And so he says, you cannot give babies meat. And I understood what he was referring to. And so he said, give little baby milk. He said, when I'm gone, he said, then